Okay, first of all, I would like to pay homage to the Triple James. Okay, dear all viewers and friends, all venerables who come to following and watching this Monkchat Facebook Live right now. We just live streaming on Monkchat Facebook page and also YouTube channel simultaneously. So I'm very happy to be here to meet all of you once again. All right, I would like to introduce all the speakers today. Okay, there are Mang Sumbun, and very special occasion today. I have invited Mr. David Flayer. Okay, I think this is first time that I have invited him to join Monkchat Live on Facebook. So today I'm very happy to have Ajahn David, here. He is the MCU Chiang Mai campus lecturer and also teacher for English students. Okay, in our MCU Chiang Mai campus. Okay, so welcome, Ajahn David Flayer.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Nice to see you both.
Yes. Okay, first of all, you all know me as a Prat Sontavi and Venerable Sombun. And today is the first time that Ajahn or teacher David Flayer be with us in the live stream on the Facebook. I would like to, yes, can you tell about yourself? Yeah, it's coming.
The dogs are coming.
Dogs are coming.
The dogs want to hear my story. Yeah, yes. Okay, so I'm an American guy. I've been in Thailand about more than 25 years. I've been teaching English to monks like you, wonderful monks like you, at MCU for more than 20 years. And a long time ago, I started Monkchat because as a teacher, a long time ago, I was talking to the monks and I asked the monks, do you practice your English and talk to the people at your temple, talk to foreigners? And they said, no, we don't really have an opportunity to talk to foreigners. And then my friends, my foreign friends in Chiang Mai were jealous about me. They said, wow, you're so lucky. You get to talk to monks all the time. And so I thought, interesting. The foreigners want to talk to the monks. The monks would like to talk to the foreigners. And so we set up Monkchat. And that was, 20 years ago.
Okay, very nice. Very interesting program that have been running until this day. Yes. So there are also many stories behind that. How do you start this program and how this program benefit to our monk student generation and generation. So can you share that expression, feeling that you engage to Monkchat and have been teaching generation by generation of monk student from MCU Chiang Mai campus along with Monkchat?
Yeah. First of all, it's a wonderful experience to be teaching monks in MCU. I feel really fortunate and blessed that I can have that opportunity. So that it's really wonderful. When Monkchat started, the idea was very clear, much like it is today. We're going to have just a place for foreigners to come talk to the monks. But to actually make it work was awkward at the beginning. We didn't know how many people would come. We didn't know what would happen. And actually, then we ended up with an interesting question of Western people talking with Asian monks. And there's cultural differences. There's different ideas. What questions do they ask? How do they ask the questions? What do they know? What do they not know? And it was very challenging for especially the first group of monks to try to meet these brand new foreigners. Some had only been in Thailand 1 week, and they're asking, questions that the monks, that Thai people would never ask. They're asking questions that are quite difficult to answer. Many times they have a misunderstanding about Buddhism. So we have to figure out, where they're coming from, how to talk with them. And that became the next big challenge of just making the communication work. And that's been fun too. I think that's a real fun part of it. And we've had just so many outstanding monks like you two that really are able to do that. You're able to communicate, you're able to listen. You've got the English skills, but you've got more than that. You've got the ability to exchange information with someone from a different background. But at the very beginning, when we started it, I printed up Monkchat flyers on a little piece of paper and rode my bicycle around Chiang Mai and glued them to the walls and the lampposts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was the beginning, was me on a bicycle with glue. Yeah, it was very, very, very fun.
Okay. That's a wonderful story. Yes. To hear from Mr. David Flair that he involved to Monkchat in Chiang Mai, and also bring up the skills of English speaking of Buddhist monk in Chiang Mai. Um, Outstanding, and have big also reputation to than the other places in Thailand. So a little bit more about this. Mang Somboon also used to be the principal of Monkchat as well. So you have some reflection after you have been engaged to this program.
I've been involved with Monkchat for several years, actually, since the beginning. And what my intention attending the Monkchat program, and actually because I wanted to improve my English at the beginning. So, but it changed a lot of my way of thinking and my perspective on people, and open my mind. When I had a chance to talk with people in different culture and from different countries, and that encouraged me in many different ways, especially about my meditation practice. So I feel very thankful for those, like especially foreigner, and as well as my teacher as well. And actually, that's when I got a question, some difficult question or easy question or whatever question. It remind me, who I am. So mostly when foreigner came and visit Monkchat, they ask about a lot of personal information, like your routine and your rule, or what kind of rule you have to, your precept and something. So that when I heard and answered them, and sometimes I'm not very follow. I couldn't really follow the route that is laid down according to the Vinaya or the principle. But that's kind of question that people asking me, I has to go back and review, and try to get understand what what monk really is supposed to do. That encouraged me gradually interested in practicing even more. At the beginning, maybe only English, come to Monkchat for English, but that after I got a question, like many foreigner who came to visit Monkchat, they're not only asking question for collecting and knowing information, but some people they also have learned some Buddhist idea, and especially meditation is something very interesting. And honestly, and actually, since I was ordained as a novice monk, a little monk actually, I didn't have much time or spend much time on practicing, So mostly studying in the school, but after I attained Monkchat, it allowed me to have the inspiration for my practice. Yeah. So that's why I came.
That's very nice. Okay. For me, it's very pleasure as well to able to involve in to this program, and I really love it. I even more dedicate my time and my energy to this program because I feel that it's going to be a great experience. Once time that I have been in this place, Chiang Mai, and be along with this program, and that's great experience to be one of the principal of Monkchat, and even more step up myself to be assistant in the meditation practice activities around. So the environment around me is becoming English. This is one of the word that I heard or suggested from Mr. David Flayer, Mr. Steve, that you have to create your environment to be in English, even you have to dream in English. So I got one assignment from Ajahn, or teacher Steve. Your homework is dream in English. That's very powerful assignment. All right. Anyway, we are very happy to begin with sharing great memories with Monkchat, because we got Mr. David Freyer here as one of the founder of Monkchat. So that's why we have a little bit interview and background of this program. All right, so I will have short time to have the interaction with my viewer. Okay, so thanks to Mr. Kancho. He's the ex-monk of our MCU Chiang Mai campus. Wonderful. Samtip Mindful. Okay, hello to Sawan John. Hello to Go Chon Kiat. Okay, he's my friend. He's in Singapore. He's from Singapore. Okay, hello to Wilai One. So he gave very nice comments to Jen David. Such nice comments. And thank yous to Stuart, James, and Brad, Phil, to share your great experience with this program. Okay, he or she said that thank you from Australia. I took my wife and kids to Monkchat in Chiang Mai 2 years ago. We all learned so much. Thank you for your comments. Philip Steele, Monkchat Watson was one of the first place in Chiang Mai where I started my path in Buddhism. Thank you for powerful comments. And hello to Pra Tong Munichito and also Pra Kam. So thank you to all comments, that come to have interaction with our Facebook Live right now. As I have mentioned in the post, that today we have a special topic to discuss in a different aspect, Buddhist monk aspect and foreigner aspect, like Ajahn David Freyer, about principal disciples of the Buddha. Mostly when we speak about the history of Buddhism, we always point to the story of the Buddha, right? But there are also great feeling, and there are also many as a role model that as a monk, that being around Buddha. So Ananda, okay, it's one of the famous name that when you read the Buddha story or watch the story of the Buddha, you might have heard, okay, this name Ananda. He is the principal disciples of the Buddha, and he got the name as guardians of the Dhamma. Yes, because why? We will discuss more. But just want to let you know first that Ananda, he is the one who has a great memory, best in learning. We call Pahu Sutra, the one who able to remember the great knowledge. So today we bring this to the discussion group in different aspects, that what can we learn from the practice of Ananda and his life philosophy, that he got a chance to being around the Buddha and his practice. But this story also was suggested and advice from Mr. David Freyer to this is one of the interesting story that we can share to the people. So that's why I would like to hear from your intention, that why do you think that it is a story that will touch to the people to at least learn more about Buddhism? Yes.
It was my suggestion for this discussion. And it's from me as a Westerner, from the outside of Buddhism, coming into Buddhism. A few things, let me just kind of talk around it. When I read about Buddhism in the beginning, and I was trying to understand what's going on, kind of exactly like you said, I saw the name. Oh, there was Ananda. Oh, there was Ananda. And then I start to learn a little bit more about him and realize, okay, he was quite a special person. So then I kind of looked at his story from my Western eyes. And so as a Westerner, I look at the story, and like you said, he wasn't a normal person in the fact that his mind was so clear. He had a photographic memory. He could remember everything exactly. And he had kind of perfect behavior. So the Buddha chose him to be like the guardian of the Dhamma, the record keeper, to listen to everything he said and hold all of that in his mind for the teaching. And Ananda said he would do it, but he wanted to make sure he got all the teaching, everything was complete, he didn't miss anything. And if he wasn't clear, the Buddha would explain it to him to make sure it was clear. And so the Buddha agreed, and they made that deal. And so Ananda, with his perfect mind in a way, to understand and remember everything, was with the Buddha for 20 years. And not just sometimes with the Buddha, he was his personal attendant, taking care of him, around him with meals, making sure everything's okay with the Buddha. So he's talking with him, he's living with him, he's sharing the life with the Buddha for 20 years. And I just think, wow, that's wonderful. And in that time, there's so many good stories about him. Like, it's not a story about him failing. It's not a story about him doing something wrong. It's like, he did that good job and he did it right. And I think, wow, that's fantastic. But here's the thing. As a Westerner, he had total access to the Buddha and the Buddha's teaching. But Ananda did not wake up. He did not become enlightened at that time. He finally became enlightened after the Buddha passed away. But he grew old with the Buddha. They were both old when the Buddha died. So he had everything. And he still wasn't enlightened. And I think for Western, So I think for Western people, for me, when I was a very young man, I really thought, if I get all the information, I will know everything and I'll be awake, enlightened like the Buddha. I just have to get all the information.
Okay.
Ananda had all the information. But something was holding him back, I don't know. But I think it's, when I first heard that part of the story, I thought, oh no, maybe I have to think again. It made me really stop and check myself. And sometimes when I feel like, I want to read the new book, I want to get the other piece of information, I check myself and I think, do I need one more piece of information or not? Or do I need maybe something else? And so something about Ananda, the whole story of this, really, what a great man he was, what a great monk. But that piece of the story is very, very interesting for me.
Right. So we all have heard about this story of Ananda. So let me share photos of Ananda. Maybe some of followers don't know who is he.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's small picture. Anyway, okay, so he's the, how can I say, he is not Alahanta monk yet, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
When he's being around the Buddha, he's the support the Buddha all around 25 years, and the greatest supporters. I don't know what to say, the facilitators.
Yeah, I think
yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Of the Buddha. Yes. And one thing that teacher David Freyer have mentioned, that he got like blessing that in order to preserve, Buddha also see the potentiality of Ananda. Ananda, that he will able to remember and preserve the Buddha's teaching, and then he, give this piety to Ananda, that whenever Buddha have been somewhere and give a teaching, if uh, Ananda cannot go along with Buddha, Buddha have to also get back to the temple and tell Ananda what Buddha teach today. So this is one of the blessing that Ananda got from the Buddha, and allow him to collect a lot of information, knowledge, and allow him to be the one who recite all the Sutranta, Sutranta Pitaka, almost from Ananda. Yes. So, in your point of view, Ajahn David Freyer, to view our Buddhist monk when we study about this thing, do you have any thing that you touch or feel, or ask some of Prasambun, or when you study about this story, do you have any question or want to ask any Buddhist monk that how do they feel about the story of Ananda?
I do, in fact. I think that's one of the things I'm lucky about, because I live in Thailand and I'm around monks and just Thai people, is I get to see the Buddhist culture and how children grow up hearing the stories of the Buddha, not only from the temple, but from family members, from grandmothers and grandfathers and aunts and uncles and parents telling stories. So if you guys have any, Prasambun maybe, if you have some early stories that you remember when you heard about Ananda, or when you were just growing up and you heard that, how did you feel about him, and how did it feel as a person inside a Buddhist culture, just growing up with those stories? What was the image of him for you?
When I heard maybe the name of Ananda, maybe when I was very, very young, in my hometown. And actually, I remember when I first went to the temple, the local temple, and actually with my mother. In the temple, not most of the temple, they will draw, some kind of pictures on the wall, So then the wall mostly are concerned with the story, the Buddha story, and there's in many occasions where the Buddha went, and Ananda, and actually is one of the disciple that often come together with the Buddha. And when I first saw maybe the image of the Ananda is when he stand in front of the Buddha and intend to protect the Buddha from the furious elephant or something. So that picture is, I think that is an image that I saw when I was a small kid. And Ananda very admirable, by the people when everyone, some of my monk friend also, their name, their parent give them name like Ananda, unknown Ananda or something. Nah. Even some monk, they after they ordain, they will be given the name Ananda. Nah. So this is how people so much admire the Ananda. But honestly, when I was young, I didn't know much about Ananda and how what he did in the Buddha time. Since I grow up and have learned read his story and the Buddha story, and actually, as a person already introduced, and actually, there's almost every case, the Ananda will be involved with those situations because he's one of the we can call it we can call Ananda is a Buddha's a secretary or something, will like go with the Buddha, always with the Buddha. Yeah. And that is my, I think, my memories and my experience of like hearing from my parents and my grandfather, my grandma about, and also in the Buddhist culture, in the temple. I grew up in with the temple, so that's why this story we are very familiar with the Ananda and many other disciples of the Buddha, great disciple, and actually it's not only Ananda, but for us it's very usual to like when we talk about Ananda is when we feel very admire or admire to him, and we respect or something. And yes, I think that's what I
Mhm.
feel about Ananda.
Yes, that's great sharing that you have been experienced with Pra Anon since you was very young. Yes. So uh, for the viewers who just come in, and when you heard about Ananda, don't get wrong. Okay, it's not Anatta. Okay. Yes, it's very close. Ananda, that's the name of the great disciples of the Buddha. It seems like his secretary that help Buddha, uh, facilitate him to do things in daily life. But why we pick up the life story of the Ananda? Because there are also many great things that we can learn from it. Uh, like what we have mentioned earlier, collecting information, learning, and without practicing also will even more cause you more stress, tension, worries that you can to lost that information. Uh, Sometime when we listen, read, we would like to remember all of that to share, but when we read many stories and then we forgot about it, and again, and sometimes you upset to yourself. And I think this story that Ananda, he collected a lot of knowledge, wisdom with him, and he cannot awake. So there's also a question from our ex-monk Kanjo. He's want to know any ideas behind why Ananda cannot enlighten during the Buddha still alive. That's very interesting to discuss that. Uh, and I think that there's some worries, and want to miss something in details. You have to very carefully to manage your thoughts and this. So you have any ideas, Ajahn David Freya, to
It's I don't know if it's an idea or a theory as to why, but I think
okay.
something very interesting. The sutras, the teaching of the Buddha, like you said, most of that comes from him, right? That's really coming through Ananda, right?
Yes.
So I've thought a little bit in my mind, if we get the sutras about the Buddha coming through a man is remembering it, or if we got the teachings of the Buddha coming through another enlightened monk, maybe the teachings would be difficult for normal people to hear. But because Ananda was not enlightened, so the Buddha's teaching, imagine, the Buddha's teachings are high and pure, and Ananda is a high, pure man, but still a man. And then the next step down is the normal people trying to learn. So maybe it was just easier for people to hear the stories from a man as told by a very, very clear man than a story told directly from an arahant. I'm not sure. I don't know. But that's just one idea, because that's really what happened. All right?
Yes.
That's really what happened. It came through a man, not a. I use the term man being different than an enlightened human, which is really quite different. So.
Mm-hmm. So
Kancho, I don't know if that if that theory is a good one, but I do think it's interesting that so much of the teaching came through Ananda.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Monk Sumbun, do you have any idea that?
I've heard about this story actually, why he couldn't achieve enlightenment while the Buddha is still alive. And actually, there's many. I'm not sure. It's some case about talking about while Ananda stay with the Buddha. He didn't have much time to practice, you know. Mostly he take care of the Buddha, and that is what I heard. And actually, he spent a lot of time teaching other people, teaching and take care of the Buddha, and remembering, busy with the collecting, like remembering the teaching of the Buddha, and 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 that's why he couldn't quickly achieve enlightenment while the Buddha is still alive. It is said that because um, I heard many of his followers, and actually Ananda himself also have many monks who under his take. Look, he looked after many other monks, and most of his disciples also achieved enlightenment, achieved Allahundahood. But he himself still Sodaban, or maybe stream intellect or something, like the first level of enlightenment. But his disciple already achieved the highest of enlightenment, that is Alahanda. And this showing that, and actually the Dhamma or achieve enlightenment when he, after the Buddha passed away after 3 months, and he spent how to say, and he practiced intensively in order to achieve enlightenment. He tried very hard, and but still, because of the desire that, oh, I have to be Alahanda within 3 months, as the Buddha said, because before the Buddha passed away, he told Ananda that, don't be sad. After I'm gone, you will be Alahanda after 3 months. Then, remembering that word, he tried very hard after the Buddha passed away. Practice, and still at the end, the last day of the how to say, the 3 months. 3 months passing the last day of the month. He finally surrendered. Maybe it's okay not to like achieve enlightenment, and he rushed to practice because he will be eligible to join the first council or something to rehearse the teaching of the Buddha, and the other Arahanta, maybe 499, are waiting for him and to Arahantahood. And finally, maybe the last night, he surrendered that, maybe I couldn't achieve Arahantahood, and he surrendered. And that's kind of giving up, let go of the desire, allow him to be able to let go that desire, and he become the Arahanta in a very strange posture or something. It's not standing or lying or maybe sitting or something.
Right. The way I heard the story is he was beginning to lay down. So he was not sitting, not laying down. He was kind of in between.
Yes.
And he woke up. Right. Wonderful.
Woke up.
Yeah. What does that mean for you and your practice?
Detach, like I think we have to look at inside the moment that he keep up the clinging with the result of the practice, that okay, I will relax, and I don't know, maybe just that moment, it's good time that he able to achieve and enlighten.
I love that phrase, clinging to the result.
I
think you said that very well. That's a beautiful way to say that. Clinging to the result. Right.
So we also got a comments from viewers concerned to the enlightenment of Ananda. Okay, let me put on the screen. This question from Julius. He questioned that how come Ananda was not enlightened, even though he has learned so much from the Buddha, and he has already teaching the Buddha's teaching by that time. So can we say that all monks are not enlightened yet, even though you have spent so much time to practice and learn Buddha's teaching? There are many different questions, and
right. Can I try a little bit on this one? This is one of my feelings when I heard the story of Ananda. I'm like, why not? Why couldn't he? He learned all those things. So I think this is really kind of the reason I wanted to talk about this. I don't have a clear answer, but one of the feelings is, like we've been talking about, just the knowledge of the teaching may not be enough, right? Because some other monks, they heard a little of the teaching and it was enough for them to click and wake up. But he had all the teachings. So there's something about just having the teaching. Like Prasambun said, he spent all his time taking care of the Buddha, thinking about the Buddha, thinking about his teaching, not a lot of time to practice. So maybe it's a story that we also have to take the time to apply the teachings in our own experience now ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good question. I don't know the correct answer, but this is exactly the question I had. Maybe there is a question that some of my Western friends ask, and you
Okay,
guys,
please.
I asked to you two monks here. We say this monk was enlightened, and another monk, Ananda, was not enlightened. How do they know?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? How do you know? Why is it clear? I mean, Ananda knew he was not enlightened, and the other monks knew that Ananda was not enlightened, but they knew that they were enlightened. So, is it clear to make that judgment? How do they know?
Mm.
Did you have that question at monk
Interesting.
before?
In my part
It's
of,
a very often
okay,
asked, actually.
Okay. What's your answer
Frequent
that
asked.
you often give?
And for, I think, what I have been told, actually not my own answer mostly. Um, like for ordinary people, it's very difficult to realize who's the enlightened one. And mostly what is mentioned in the story or in the scripture, uh, that sometime the Buddha just like as I mentioned, uh, to mention this monk already like this level, this level. But then actually
Okay.
for the ordinary people, it's very difficult to. It's beyond the how to critical thinking or that's kind of
Mhm.
thing. So that's why it's one of the um, for say for habited question that of thinking about the world or the quality of the enlightened being, unless you will become a crazy person or that kind of thing. So you will never understand that kind of state of mind. But then actually, the Buddha guided the way. Maybe at least he said that if you really want to know someone, what quality that kind of person have, you first talk with them, right? Then be with them or spend time, stay with them. And if longer enough, you will rely by yourself that this kind of person or an angry person or a kind person or a generous person. The same thing. If the Buddha suggests that to stay or talk or maybe longer enough, and we will know someone better. Yeah, that is just the kind by the Buddha.
okay. In my part of view, how so Mr. Jurist asks the same question, that how to know one is enlightened. Uh,
Mm.
I think the first thing is the one that going to guess the others that he is enlightened or not. That person have to practice almost the same level, you know. uh President Boone had mentioned that be with that person, observe their behavior, the way they think, view, is it right view, view, uh, understanding the way they think, the way they speak, the way they do. When we, you know assume or guess from that experience, and we call the practice, uh, patipatha, or As we have mentioned in the chanting Sangha, Supatipano, Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, and I think those quality that we have been saying in the chanting of the sang, the Sangha one, it's all the quality of the enlightened noble one, for those who deserve to uh, get respectful and deserve to uh, or the one who practice the to end the suffering, and also several qualities that have mentioned there. It's the quality of the noble one. I think when we use that criteria to observing them, and we can know, and our practice also reach that level to feel the same thing, like football player, that when they have same skill, they all know that this is the best player in the world, because they feel that this is the skill of the best player. Yeah, this is my point of view. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
What about you?
I just want to highlight. I think those are two great explanations. And when I talk with my Western friends, especially when I go back to America, and they don't know very much about Buddhism, one of the things I mention is, like you said with the football player, but I say like mathematics. If I don't know much about mathematics, I have no idea of the smart people in mathematics who's great and who's not great, because like you said, Prasad, I didn't have my own practice. So once I learn a little bit in mathematics, I can kind of judge who's equal to me or lower, and I know these people are better, but I don't know how much better, because I get lost. It's beyond my mind, like you said, Prasambun. It's like too high for me. So I think we can judge who's equal to us, kind of, or a little bit lower. And once it's higher, it's really hard to judge. It's hard to know. But like you said with the two football players, if I think one Arahant, if they see another Arahant and they talk together, they know.
I feel like that.
Yeah, I think it's very clear to them. They can recognize each other because they're both in that state. I hope that, that's the way I look at that question.
Yeah, it's pretty clear actually. It's very clear picture comparing with the level of elementary. The teacher maybe maybe we will know whose student are which level, which is their skill in mathematics. Maybe under the teacher and know like each one. But we sometimes, if we are the student or maybe the lower class of the student, we will never know maybe how smart the teacher is sometimes, or even like a friend who are smarter than his.
So is there a body or group of monks who can tell that someone has enlightened?
Do you have like a group of monks that will sit together and evaluate a monk and decide this one is an Arahant? Do you do that?
No.
Okay.
Buddhist practice is not the worldly subjects. We have to understand in this way. We don't want a certificate that you get enlightened to, uplift your position to be dominate the others, So I think to know that that one is enlightened or not enlightened, also, well, it's good to know that we have, because we also know right way to practice with the arahanta monk, but when we don't know, maybe we might make mistake. Well, at that time, the purpose that Buddha laid down the rules, as a major rule, that Buddhist monks are not allowed to proclaim oneself, uh, or I think include you proclaim the others as an arahanta monk, or can do some supernatural power. It create or made disadvantage than advantage. Mhm. So that's why, in order to cut the root of the problems, not allow monks to, okay, I'm higher than you, you are, to cut this root, and then he's okay, don't made it as a main things that to be together. So that's why we don't have this kind of judgment, or what I'm going to say, to be like to separate, like, oh, this is enlightenment, not an enlightened. I think that is not the main point to be as a sangha. Yeah. Yes. That's
Uh,
my
yes.
feeling.
Let me share a little bit further about this point. And actually, as person said, it is not the main point, and even is not necessary to identify if it is the enlightened one or is not the enlightened one. What the Buddha recommends and encourages people to pay attention on, and actually is not about the enlightened um, monk or something. And actually, he he taught people to pay attention on their own practice. So that's why the teaching saying the pachatang, realize realizing by oneself. Yeah. So you know yourself how much anger you have in your mind, and how much defilements still exist in your mind, and what kind of thing that you already, how much you can detach or let go of those kind of thing in your mind. So and mostly is about the one self-realization. Is about when you keep practicing and following the teaching, you will be able to uh, how to say, know by yourself how much defilement, like hatred, uh, anger, delusion, and and this kind of thing reducing. Mm. The lesser this defilement in the mind, that means the closer in enlightened state of mind. So that's why when we talk about as an ordinary people, we will never know, but unless we practice until we uh, get rid of this defilement in our mind, and once you will be able to realize your own self that, oh, I'm already this stage. you know It- Other people will never know that your state of mind reach this level, except maybe for those who are in higher level, as John and David said.
Mm,
Great.
yes, that's what we can tell and explain. Yes. So let's come back to Ananda. Kancho, maybe we lost. What about Ananda? Okay. Uh, he also mentioned to, is it Buddha's plan not let him to enlightenment, make him busy with teaching people. Hmm. Well, maybe this idea.
But
Mm, we never know. Yes. Mhm.
It's a great comment, though. I like that.
Okay, Ajahn David, can you read this
Yes.
comment?
As my understanding, an enlightened person and a normal person view is different. For example, an enlightened person look the body is changing, but normal people look at the body as beautiful color like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think I mean, I'm not an enlightened person. I will identify that right now. Uh,
Yes.
so in my imagination about an enlightened person, it seems like they would look at things very differently. I think it would be a very different kind of perception and consciousness.
Mm. Another interesting question, continuously from Julius.
He wants to know who is enlightened, right? Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of
Yes, yes.
okay. How about
People
it?
will ask. Mm.
Right. How about if I instead of saying who is enlightened, what if I can adjust your question a little bit, Julius, to make it a little bit softer to ask? Do you think there are enlightened people on the earth now? Just as an idea, if you feel comfortable to answer that. Many of
Mm.
my Farang friends, Farang, the Western people, they ask that question. Personally, I think there are. I think there are many enlightened people on on the earth right now. I can't prove it. I don't know it because I'm not enlightened myself, so I really can't tell. But that's my feeling. Do you guys have an opinion, or if you're comfortable, what do you think?
I strongly believe that there's enlightened persons, people are in this earth actually. Uh, I observe from my observation maybe throughout the, but I'm not sure where are they or something. But the teaching and the path, it's very clear. But what of uh, the key is that not many people are able to follow the path. You know, so I think there's someone or maybe group of maybe people who really can perfectly follow the path, or maybe not really perfect, but maybe at least they are on the way, you know, of the path. So I think uh, they are. Strongly believe that they are.
All right. So we speak about Ananda and his situation that cannot wake up during the Buddha and leading to the state of enlightenment. And well, this is community of sharing. So if you have an idea, you can write out, comment in the chat box, can share in this group of Monkchat. So we're learning together. Yes. And to be honest, what we have mentioned that we would discuss about the life of the Ananda, but we just speak about what we are interested in, some part or aspect, or what's that what we call the some um, s- period of his life that uh, shows something that what we can learn, about the practice, the teaching of the Buddha, like about awake, about learning um, the Buddha's teaching and the practice balance, balancing this. So this is our purpose today, to speak about Ananda story. Yes. So anyway, thank you so much for your sharing your question to Monkchat discussion group. Uh, very
May I,
nice. One of
may
the
I
yes, please.
one last thing before, if we do have, one of the things that I noticed as a Westerner living in Thailand is
Mhm.
the warm feeling that normal Thai people have for Ananda. And I think that's
Mhm.
something
I
that
agree.
really, when I started to notice that, just normal people talking, and they have this warm feeling, and some Thai people, they feel like they can pray to Ananda when they need to, like he's going to look after them. It's really lovely. It's really nice. And if you're a Westerner outside a Buddhist country reading about Buddhism, you don't have that opportunity to feel that. And I feel so lucky to be living here in Thailand, so I can feel that from normal Thai people, not monks, just people who are who have a warm connection to Ananda. So that's one of the reasons I'm interested and wanted to talk about him today.
Okay. Person Boone, do you have any speech, further explanation to point about, curiosity about enlightenment uh, of ordinary people? Yes.
In my opinion, I think Ananda is one of a great disciple of the Buddha who who can who can be a good role model, for all people, you know, and take a look at his quality, what he had done for Buddhism, and actually, and for Buddhist people, and all the teaching that transmit from generation to generation. Without Ananda, I think it would be very difficult. The teaching of the Buddha would be able to perfectly preserve and transmit this to our generation. So for me, I feel very grateful to 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 this monk, not only Ananda, to collect and prove and how to say, concept and collect this kind of preserve the teaching of the Buddha, and we today get how to say can get a lot of benefits, useful this useful teaching, and we can apply this kind of thing, put in us, to have a better life and better how to say better quality of mind. So to me, I feel very strongly, feel very grateful, to not Ananda and many other senior monks as well.
hmm for me, I inspire another story. One thing that this is the human being able to develop, themselves. Um, for example, using brain in this present day in this, scientific, science field, they do testing, using memory or um, this already prove, that since Buddha time, monks Ananda, that he able to develop uh, himself skill to um, like far beyond ordinary, memory, you know, th- that able to contain a lot of information, and uh, not just only that only learning, but must be uh, along with training concentration, uh, to able to focus. When you want to use that information, you need to focus to only that source of knowledge to teach. And in this present day, in Myanmar, there are also several monks that able to remember the whole Tipitrakas, uh, the Buddhist scriptures. uh, but there are also a lot that who can remember the Vinaya Pitaka, or only Sutantra Pitaka or Abhidhamma Pitaka. But Ananda, um, he like an example of a man who developed or learning in great in learning. So we can use him as an example of uh, um, we call the Pahu Sutra, like great in learning. Yes. Mm. So for our discussion today, will come to the end soon. But every week we will gather in this conference platform and speak about different monks, and even some character that appear in the Buddha story, like Angulimala, is the one that um, you always have seen in the war painting, and of course for tourists will ask what is on his neck, and many tourists, many tour guy also stuck with that as well. uh, we will bring some of this story to discuss like this. You will listen at your place, and you can have real-time interaction with our group discussion to share and exchange knowledge. Yeah, this is our purpose, to bring Monkchat into online. This is feeling like Monkchat. Last 2-3 years that we sit uh, on the table and discuss together, but this is changed. You can be in any place, but we can still do Monkchat. uh-huh. Ajahn David, how do you feel about this feeling of Monkchat online?
I'm happy to be back in Monkchat. I always I always feel so good talking with you guys in Monkchat. Your 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 answers always bring me something new. I always feel calm after talking with you guys, and I learn something every single time. I'm happy to be in Monkchat again.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
we will end our Facebook Live here. We will organize this kind of live Facebook Live again on Saturday. Yeah, weekly, twice a week. Yeah, on Saturday and Wednesday. So please keep following for the audience. So I very thanks to Agent David Flair to dedicate your time around 1 hour 15 minutes to be with us. Hope to invite you next session, next episode. We can bring some interesting story to discuss.
Okay.
Yes, so
Thank you.
wish you will be happy and secure, and Prasambun, you also be happy and secure. and wish all the audiences to be happy and secure. And good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all people in different time zone. And goodbye. Yes. See you next time. Sadhu.
Sadhu.